is going on, Rotogrinders? Dean here at Dean7904. If you want to get all technical on me, that is the daily fantasy handle around the industry. It's 5:30 on the dot on the East Coast, 2:30 on the West Coast, 4:30 Tennessee time. So, of course, images time for the flagship show here at Rotogrinders. It's called Grinderslive. Joining me today, he was so good yesterday, returning champion Grant Neefer. And, you know, I stumbled a little bit through the intro, and it's because I'm thrown off. I'm rattled because our pre-show conversation, Grant revealed in his egg power rankings that his favorite style, the only way he eats eggs, is over easy. And like, that is a contrarian. There's being contrarian. What is it? Don't be contrarian. No, don't be stupid. That's just terrible take. Just what are you doing, Grant?
I mean, I absolutely do not trust your taste in anything. But yeah, no, I love a runny yolk. Like, over easy eggs and poached are absolutely the two best ways to go with eggs. Get a little toast there. And
scramble is the chalk. Like, how do you not scramble those?
Scramble is the chalk. I burnt myself out on scrambled eggs when I was like 17.
Okay.
And then again when I was in college. And then I switched over omelets in college. But no, I was working out 7 times a week and
what?
8
Fix or it didn't happen. Fix.
I mean, I don't have well, I probably do have pictures of me. Yeah, actually, I was a lot less of a fat kid.
You didn't have a beard either.
No, I grew in patches. They called me Patches. My nickname was Patches because of my patchy beard. That is actually accurate. They call me Patches O'Houlihan after.
He's the greatest dodgeball player of all time. Patches O'Houlihan, great coach too.
Dive, duck, and dodge.
Those are the 5 Ds of dodgeball. Yeah, in DFS, Patches O'Houlihan would have been like the Shohei Ohtani. Like, you lock and load. He was, back in the day, he was pretty good. Tragic how he went, though. Spoiler alert.
That's how I want to go.
In a Vegas casino, and a chandelier just falling out of nowhere.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened to me. I've had 3 close calls with chandeliers in Vegas casinos.
What? How do you have 3 close? I mean, we don't have time to get into this, but how is that even possible? You have 3 close calls? Are you standing on top of the roulette wheel or something to get the?
No, I just climb up to the ceiling and hop on the chandelier.
All right, this is
and the other 2 times were when I went to the chandelier bar in Cosmo and almost fell.
Nice humble brag. You get to go to the Cosmo? They don't let there's no dress.
I never stayed at the Cosmo, but yeah, no, they aren't. I've gone there in a tank top. My favorite thing to do in Vegas is to go around in tank tops and flip-flops to like really nice restaurants.
Yeah,
that's my favorite.
Yeah, and you were just talking about how classy you were pre-show, and now I understand why you're talking about that. Yeah, we don't have time to fully delve into that. Hey, we can make polls in the chat. Let's go ahead and make a poll and ask how you like your eggs. Devin was disturbed. I don't know if he's recovered yet.
Just everyone throw into chat what your favorite way to eat eggs is.
No, you could actually put a poll there. It makes it much easier. It's succinct.
Okay, put omelet, scrambled, over easy, and hard boil.
Okay, yeah, over easy is going to be less than 10%.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we'll have another chugging bet on that, I suppose. Maybe, who knows? Big slate going down tonight, Grant, and it's kind of the haves and have-nots. We'll kind of dig into it. I think it's going to be pretty chalky as well from a pitching perspective, from a hitting perspective. 11 gamer cores is happening again. The prices on some cores guys are really too cheap on DK still. Of course, we have two bad offenses there, but it is still cores, 11 total. And then the Yankees, I'm not sure if you've heard this, but the Yankees added a couple big-time free agents. Anthony Rizzo and Joey Gallo from the left side. We know about that short porch. We know Matt Harvey's taking the bump. Matt Harvey, you're laughing at something. Is the chat? What's going on in chat? Is there the poll going down?
Runny and Devin decided to make the poll runny, disgusting, or solid and edible. And yet running disgusting is running away with the lead. And everyone's answering over easy, sunny side up, over easy, over easy. I knew
they're
that
trolling now. Now they're just trolling because
I don't think you understand. Scrambled eggs are just the chalk because they're easy. Like it's hard to fudge up scrambled eggs. Easy is by far the best.
Sunny side up look cool. I'll say that. Like for pictures, like for photo ops.
I need that egg white fully cooked. I need that yolk nice and runny.
Are you one of those guys that throws an egg on your burger? You get that kind of fancy?
Occasionally I do. Honestly, I go all over the board with my burgers.
All right. Tonight's slate, 11 gamer, Matt Harvey and Yankee Stadium. The Yankees kind of broke out last night, put up a big number. The momentum should continue going forward. We'll talk about Matt Harvey, and he hasn't given up a homer in 7 of his last 8 games. You know, you can argue he's been good of late, but I was looking at his last, well, let's not fully delve into this. I'm curious to get your screenshot as far as the slate. What are your general thoughts? Because, you know, the Yankees obviously are going to be popular for good reason. We'll talk about it, but give me your overall thoughts, pitching, hitting. What do you see in this slate?
I mean, I'm not actually prioritizing pitching, which is a weird thing to do considering how many good pitchers we have on the slate. But I mean, Scherzer's now he's playing for the Dodgers. He's going up against the Astros. Now he's playing for the Dodgers. Like he may be on a shorter leash. Like we go for Max Scherzer because he can go up to 110 pitches. I don't think Dave Roberts is going to let that happen. Especially this early. He wants to save him for the playoffs, in my opinion. Who knows? Anything can end up happening. It's an unknown, but we're getting him at 38%, granted at a price decrease, but he's probably going to have, you'd say at least he has 10% decrease in pitches being over to Dave Roberts?
I don't necessarily agree with that because if you watch the game last night, 52,000 people, biggest crowd we've had all season long, the big rival of the Houston and Dodgers. It goes back to the cheating scandal and whatever. Dodgers fans were booing the entire game, throwing trash cans in the field. And Scherzer, he loves this kind of stuff. He loves, he gets pumped up and there's like 5,000 people in the crowd and he's like cursing at himself in the middle of a bat. I'm kind of going down the narrative streak, but I really, in his first game for the Dodgers, I really think he gets up for it. He's excited to be traded to a contender. And the other part is, as far as last night, is we saw both pitchers, McCullers he hit for himself with like at a 95 pitches or whatever it was. And when he came out the next inning, which normally you think he would get pinch hit for, but didn't happen.
Well, he was absolutely dealing.
Yes. Yeah. But yes. Okay. But you usually don't necessarily, that's kind of the point we can sort of cut him off. But the other point is that they let Buehler go at 115. There's 162 games.
Oh, and did Buehler outscore Kikuchi or Cease?
Well, that wasn't the bet we made. I think you're trying to take a victory lap, but that's not the bet.
That was literally the bet we made.
Well, no, the bet we made is that Zach Wheeler.
I mean, either way, they both got outscored by both Kikuchi and Cease.
Oh, well, are you certain of that?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Wheeler had 16, or Wheeler had 17.4. Buehler had 16.1, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they brought Wheeler was out there too, pitching like 105 or 110, and then he gave another homer to Bell, and they gave him the hook. But yeah, the point is that Buehler threw like 115 pitches last night, and there are 162 games in the season. Some games need more than others. This game means more than like an afternoon game on a Tuesday against the Marlins. This is the point I'm making. And I think they'll let Scherzer go. And Scherzer's not even, he won't even come out. He won't, if they want to pull him at 85 pitches, he'll say no.
There's a little bit different.
You take the ball from him.
I mean, they're more likely to because he wants to win this season. He's just happy to be on a new team. He's going to be like, all right, we actually have a bullpen behind me and we have a good batter to pinch hit for me.
I mean, I don't know. Look, I'm not concerned about his pitch count. If that's kind of the point you're making. The only concern I have, and he's a little bit too expensive on FanDuel, but I'm going to place him in tournaments just because he's Max Scherzer. On DK, they're just telling you he's the 6th most expensive guy at 9.1K. And yes, you're not supposed to face Houston. Houston's a team that, pretty scrappy. Well, scrappy is not the right word. They don't strike out. They'll take walks. They might use Gurriel. Gurriel got the hook late, a late scratch with his neck. Yordan Alvarez doesn't play every single game in the field in the National League, so he might not play. Of course, Bregman's not back, and they lose their DH. So I think it's all kind of sort of baked in. 9.1K for Max just seems too cheap for the name brand and for his potential upside. Yes, it's a contact heavy team, but I was looking at the Brantley, and I'm like, I was just looking at the BBP stuff. I was kind of looking to see how other guys have done it against other guys, and Brantley, big contact guy. How many times has Brantley struck out against Max Scherzer in his career? 48 official at bats, I believe it is. 49. Once, one strikeout. It's kind of annoying, but
and he's 2.7K. I don't mind him as a one-off.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a big power guy either, obviously, but he's
2.7K with an 8% K rate versus righties.
Yeah,
pitcher that and is second guy's out.
Grant, we're losing your internet. It's getting a little funky on us. Hopefully, we can get a little correction on your end. But you sound a little Max Headroom-ish as far as I can tell. But yeah, we want to see that Houston lineup. I'm just going to give it a refresh. Of course, that's on the West Coast, so probably not going to get it just yet. We saw Gurriel as a late scratch. Nope. Cubs just came out. Ortega, Contreras, Happ, Wisdom, Bodie, Schwindel, Fargas, and Alcantara. Roberto Perez was scratched for Cleveland in case he was in your player pool. All right. It's worth noting, not ideal, obviously. People like to talk about the umpires, the extremes. Scherzer's got himself an extreme hitters umpire. That would be Scherzer and Odorizzi. One extreme pitchers umpire is a good segue because the next guy up is Giolito. He has an extreme pitchers umpire. Hernandez, of course, the other side has one as well. I think he's the next guy that's worth talking about. Erod on FanDuel is an interesting conversation we'll have as well, but I think Giolito's second from a raw point perspective. What say you?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you can put Giolito at the top. Giolito, I would only play over on FanDuel. I'm actually not playing FanDuel today, but he's just a little bit too cheap over there. On DraftKings, like in terms of raw points, I might actually put him first. I mean, better matchup than Scherzer, similar pitchers. I think that he's probably the first in raw points. I just can't stomach that price tag because of the bats I want to pay up for. Like pretty much how my rankings go right now are Giolito, Scherzer, Gausman, Erod, and then Ohtani. But they're all kind of just a coin flip. I mean, all of them have some upside. Ohtani obviously gets a fantastic matchup going up against Texas. Like Erod, a good matchup going up against Detroit. Scherzer, good matchup against KC, or Giolito, a good matchup versus KC, and Scherzer is just good. Like, so it's kind of a weird slate where there's a lot of guys to pay up for. Everyone's going to pay up for pitching. I don't know if I am.
Yeah, there's no Gill today. We talked about Gill yesterday as a potential dart, and we didn't expect what he put up, but of course he was 4K on DK. It made a lot of sense. Yeah, I think he was in the optimal lineup as well too. I don't really see that, and we'll talk about the guys you're stepping down to. Is it like the Gallons and the Mats and like the John Grays? Is that what you're rolling out?
My two highest owned pitchers at the moment, like I'm not fully fading Scherzer, I'm not fully fading Erod, but my two highest owned pitchers at the moment, I think, are going to be Allard and Gray.
Okay. Well, talk to me about it, Colby Allard.
Allard.
Talk to me about Colby.
Allard. Colby Jack Cheese.
Fade that.
I mean, he's not great, but this lineup really isn't that great either. He's a lefty going up against a whole bunch of righties, and obviously struggled a little bit more versus righties than he has versus lefties, but he's cheap enough. He's playing in a pretty decent ballpark. He's had one good start recently, but he's 5K is the main thing. That's kind of what matters. And I might end up changing things around. It's still waiting for the Colorado lineup to come out, still waiting on the Giants lineup to come out, still waiting on the Dodgers lineup to come out. If they come out how they are, it's probably, or how I'm expecting them to be.
Dodgers lineup is out. Not to cut you off. Dodgers lineup: Betts, Muncy, Turner, Seager, Will Smith, Taylor, Pollock, and former MVP Cody Bellinger batting 8th.
Wild stuff. Wild time.
And Trey Turner is on. Wait, that's Trey Turner's on layaway too. Like I'm just looking at that lineup. But yeah, they still have Trey Turner to come. Oh man, I was talking on Twitter today, or trying to. How many potential future Hall of Famers are in the current roster? Like at worst, it's 4. You can potentially argue like 7 or 8 or 9, depending on if everything goes well. But go ahead. We care about today, not 15 years from today. It says DFS, Daily Fantasy Sports. I cut you off. You were talking about John Gray. You're not supposed to roster pitchers and cores, I'm told, but he's like a pretty good, he's the same guy, more or less, in cores than he is in the road. He's okay. And, you know, the Chicago lineup is deplorable and he's reasonably cheap. I assume that's why you want to play John Gray.
Yeah, I mean, the Chicago lineup is just bad. It's just very bad. I mean, Gray is a pretty solid overall pitcher, slightly above average in terms of strikeouts. Strikes out righties at a higher clip than lefties, but the lefties in the lineup are Ortega. He's all right. Haps, okay. Hayward's not good. Alcantara, not good if he's in the lineup. Like, this is a bad lineup, and the righties really are not great outside of Contreras and Wisdom, but both of those guys strike out a huge clip, so he's definitely has some upside. So it's just kind of the way that the slate is going. Like, he's a big ground ball pitcher. I don't expect him to give up a ton of runs. It's not particularly great weather. It's 85 out here in Denver today, but it's just a spot where, like, who else are you going to pay down for? I mean, I get, like, we look at the guys.
I'm not.
Exactly. No one else is.
Well, part of the reason is it's really not hard to make a lineup I like with good pitchers because, you know, Ortega is super cheap. I'm not saying I'm necessarily playing Ortega, but he's 2.5K on DK, probably leads off. He's not a great hitter, 30-year-old. He's not special. He had the 3-homer game. Good for him. Soler is 3.3K. Hilliard, Sam Hilliard's 2.4K. They haven't changed those prices. Joe Adell is 2K. You talk about Allard, Odell, you know, a big breakout game last night, mega prospect. Once upon a time, you know, he was like a top 5, you know, prospect in all of baseball, and he had a cup of coffee and he was terrible. He was overmatched. But, you know, Allard's the kind of guy you see in the minors. You know, he's not very good. He's okay. He's nothing really special as far as I can tell. And he's 2K. And, like, again, I think Max Scherzer is too cheap. And we'll talk about, you know, Giolito's. It's not hard to go double barrel and still get basically what I want, is sort of my point. And you're right.
Yeah.
People aren't going to be doing, they're going to be doing what I'm saying. And if everybody's doing that, and if you're playing tournaments, large field tournaments especially, maybe you shouldn't. And I understand that argument. That's the argument you're making, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I know we get to stacks later, but just look at the stacks on the slate. We got Colorado, we got the Dodgers, we got Toronto, we got New York. None of those outside of Colorado, strangely enough, and that depends on how you do it, are very cheap. So
by the way, update on the poll. This is important. I didn't mean to cut you off, but solid and edible just took over runny and disgusting as far as.
Wow. Oh my gosh, Dean. And you said it would be 10%. So you're only now 40% or 39% off.
I said 10% if there was 4 options and omelet was on the board and scramble was on the board. Come on, that's the chalk.
I mean, they are.
Devin went rogue with the poll.
Yeah. Yeah. So they're barely winning when disgusting is in my option.
Do you think that's leading the witness? Is that kind of implied?
Have you ever heard what priming is?
Yes, I understand. Somebody was doing it yesterday on Twitter talking about, hey, if LeBron James had 2 years to learn boxing, could he beat Mike Tyson?
That's not priming.
Wait. I'm using the wrong syllable. Go ahead. What's priming?
You're using the word prime. Priming is when you like if I said, pick a number between 1 and 4. Just do it.
What a prime? Oh, because everybody's going to say 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Pick a number between 1 through 10. You're going to say 7. I get what you're doing. Oh
no,
my God!
I'm putting up fingers. Fingers is prime.
Oh, I didn't see. Okay.
I'm showing a certain amount of fingers.
I wasn't watching you.
Yeah, like it's just like it's what it's what sleight of hand people do. It's what magicians do. It's very 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 easy to do. But
I watched the Secrets Revealed on the YouTube. I love watching magic stuff.
I'm right there with you. I love it too. Like I also read a lot of behavioral psychology books just because it's interesting. So I know how to manipulate you into mushing some guy that's going to hit a home run.
Oh, are you doing it right now?
I mean, I don't know. Is Allard going to put up 20 points?
What I can tell you is I liked my home run picks yesterday, victory lap, Starling Marte and Jorge Soler, super chalky Jorge Soler. There you go.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Going for a super chalky guy and a super high price guy when I went for guys near the minimum.
Yeah, and I can find guys that score 0 points also that are cheap.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did Kalanick hit a home run?
I don't know, happen? Dude. That happened yesterday. I got that Men in Black.
You were just talking about yesterday, dumb.
I don't know what happened yesterday. I couldn't even tell you. I did win a few.
I won money.
I won a few. You came in second in the tournament, right?
Yeah, it was a 104-man tournament, but
oh well, it's still a tournament.
I got 36th in the like $300K $10 one.
On DK?
Yeah.
How do you, the one with third go in the first place, you play that?
I generally like I throw my entry in there and then I put in other stuff.
Yeah. I can't click on that. I'm doing other things. I'm doing the 3 entry, the single entry, or the 88. It's like when they pay 20% up top, that I can play, but I just can't bring myself to playing those contests.
I just can't. I know it's not a smart move, but I do it strictly like it's not positive EV, but the potential of if I didn't put it in there and I would have won.
Yeah.
That like it's I don't like throwing things in the milli maker, but a lot of times I do just because I'm like, well, if it did win, I would be pissed.
Ohtani throwing baseballs tonight. You like him? He was dealing with a thumb, I want to say. I guess he's fine. I assume he's fine. If they're going to throw him out there, it makes no sense otherwise. And, the Angels aren't going to win any titles anytime soon. They're not threatening for a playoff. Rendon just went in the DL. So I assume he's fine and good to go. And that Texas lineup's not very good. The ballpark's pretty good to pitch in. Your thoughts as far as Ohtani pitching? Any interest?
I mean, the guy strikes people out.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. Like he's going up against a bad lineup in Texas where there's a lot of strikeouts. There's not a whole lot of power. Occasionally you can get wild, but that was predominantly at the beginning of the season. The guy owns a 35% K rate to righties. There's some bad righties in here. He still has a 26% K rate to lefties. There's a lot of bad lefties in here. Like it's just a bad overall lineup for a high strikeout pitcher. Occasionally you can get the leash short, but doesn't matter because the upside's absolutely there considering his strikeout rate and the fact that this is just a horrible lineup. It's probably projected to strike out at 28% of the time. I know that plate IQ doesn't say that, but realistically that's probably what they are because outside of IKF and Holt, really not a ton of low strikeout bats.
I never heard kind of Khalifa called IKF. Are you making that a thing? Is that something you've heard before? I like
did it last night and I realized it's just so much easier.
Oh, I've never heard that. Okay. Is he good enough to have these initial? You have to be a certain level of player, don't you?
I don't know.
Like SGA, like Shea goes, it's also a long name to say it, basketball, but I'm just trying to think, who's the worst player that we say their initials? There's probably somebody that's not very good. We just kind of say their initials. Erod?
IT2?
Yeah, well, yeah. He might, there's rumblings he might go back to Boston, which is like, good for him. Yeah, he never got. Oh, he did not get his contract in time. It didn't really work out for him. He was supposed to get paid a bunch of money.
Yeah, there was talks about him as the MVP that one year.
Remember, he said back up the Brinks truck or something like that. Remember, there's the famous clip, and yeah, well, Erod, a lot of Ks in this lineup here against Detroit. They do have some power. They hit the ball pretty well against lefties from a power perspective. Haas, especially. I mean, if you care about small sample sizes, 77 plate appearances versus lefties this year. He's got a 444 ISO and a 454 WOBA. That's really, really good. Jumping off the page. Grossman's got a little power as well. The mouthwash, Jonathan Scope, but they do strike out a fair bit also. Greiner, good to see him in the lineup, 44% small sample, but he's a strikeout guy. But Due at 29%. Collectively at 26.7%. And I think it's mostly a FanDuel play. You could definitely play him on DK. More between
Erod? Yeah, I'm playing him a lot over on DK.
Okay, so talk about Erod.
Like again, my things are always changing. I just updated my settings for the Dodgers lineup, and now I've got a decent amount of Erod and a bit of Max Scherzer. But Erod, he's just good. He's good. I mean, I know that he doesn't generally go that late into the games. I know he's had a huge amount of bad luck so far in the course of the season, but his overall numbers are pretty fantastic, and he's going up against a very high strikeout Detroit team. When we look at plate IQ, it's 27% going up against lefties. He's been very good versus righties so far this season. We look at this lineup and the guys that we're worried about outside of Badu is the one lefty. It's Scope, it's Haas. Like he's been good versus righties. He's been historically a pretty splits neutral guy. Now this year is a little bit more reverse splits. And this is just a solid overall spot for him going up against a very bad Detroit team. I don't think he's going to be that highly owned. Currently have projected for 29%. I feel like that's a little bit high.
Is that FanDuel or DK?
That's DK. FanDuel is just too cheap. It's going to be super chalk.
Yeah, that's a big number for DK. I don't think it'll be 29% either on DK. I think it'll be high, but not 29%.
I think more people currently we have Giolito, Gaussman, Erod, and Scherzer all projected for 24% or above, and Ohtani's at 21%. But so just looking at these ownerships, no one under 8K is projected for more than 10% ownership. None.
Yeah,
None of them.
Thompson 7K is projected for exactly 10%.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Thompson, but my issue, not to cut you off, but like I saw somebody asking about in the chat. Yeah, load up your questions there in chat because we'll get to them later. Devlin's compiling them, but I figure I might as well tackle it now. The Marlins, another one of those teams, they're going nowhere. Thompson's been pretty good. The problem is like they pull him so early. I mean, again, it's kind of sort of built into his price to some extent. He's only 7K, but look at his pitch count. Like last game, 87, that's fine, sure. And he was pitching really, really well. Like, tough matchup too against the Yankees. Good against the Padres, only 85 pitches. The Phillies, 4 innings, 2 hits, no earned runs, 60 pitches. What is that? Was that pinch hit for? I don't remember that situation. That's just weird. They're just not pushing him, but like he's been good, very good. I don't know what to do with him, but you talked about, is that one of the guys that enters the conversation of your cheapies? And if you only want 15 points, I think he can get you 15 points.
Yeah, I mean, he's pretty consistently gotten 15 points for a while. Like outside that matchup versus San Diego and that matchup versus Philly, outings, he's gotten 15. A lot of them he's gotten over 20. Like he's a lot of going up against the Mets. He's playing at home. Like I know home road splits don't really mean much, but he has a 2 ERA on the road or at home this season. And it's because that ballpark's fantastic.
Yeah, and that Miami lineup obviously is not terribly imposing. There is some power there. Of course, the ballpark subdues it to some extent, and they added Baez, but Baez also offers plenty of Ks too, so it kind of sort of goes both ways. On the other side, I mean, can we just roster anybody against the Marlins, or will we consider Carrasco, or I don't think he, I can't do it.
I'm worried about the pitch count. That's it. Like I would love to play Carrasco.
Yeah, because that lineup is again pretty brutal. They lost Jazz Chisholm, one of their best hitters. He's in the COVID list. So yeah, they have Anderson and Aguilar, and Rojas is just annoying because he makes contact, but otherwise it's a pretty dreadful lineup. Next, Brinson, I'm going to make one more day where you say, do not play Brinson there. We're going to wish him one more time. Anything else that's of note as far as the pitchers? I kind of mentioned Gowan in passing, Matz in passing, and I think they're in that Gray conversation. I guess you have Gray above those two, but I think for me,
Gray's my favorite pitcher on the board.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Like I will have more exposure to Gray in all likelihood than any other pitcher because what he makes work. And also just everyone's going to be going with Thompson instead, I assume. And Gray, like he's, again, you mentioned it, he doesn't pitch badly at home.
No.
Like
same.
Yeah. His numbers on the season are pretty darn. Actually, he's been much worse on the road this season than he has been at home.
Yeah, but I was just thinking like kind of like historically, he doesn't have these massive home road splits, but you're right. He's been better at home this season, and that Cub lineup again. Let's give it the old refresh on Twitter. I'm curious if that lineup has come out. We probably have had a couple lineups drop throughout the show. No, none just yet. Hopefully they come in soon enough. Give me a summary as far as the arms. For me, I think it's Scherzer and Giolito as like your main build on DK. Of course, that's your cash game construction, and you can branch out from that to guys like Erod. You talked about Gray in tournaments. Gausman, probably a little bit too pricey for me. Tyon is okay, but whatever.
Not paying 10.2K for him. No.
Okay, but that's more of a FanDuel play where he's 8K. That's what it is. Yeah, you can play him on FanDuel at 8K. 10K for Tyon, I just can't do that. I mean, if he goes out there and crushes, so be it. But give me your summary. We'll talk about some stacks in a second.
You can play any of the 5 main arms on the slate: Scherzer, Gausman, Erod, Giolito, Ohtani. They're pretty much, their ownership directly correlates to how good of plays they are. So I don't have a huge lean on any of them. It's whoever fits. Like they're close enough in price where if you have 9.5K, take Ohtani. 9K, take Erod. 9.7, take Gausman. 10.6, take Giolito. Like leave one pitcher slot open if you're planning on paying out for one. Figure out what one fits. But what I'm doing a lot of is playing a lot of John Gray. John Gray is my favorite pitcher on the slate. And we got that lineup. Let's see.
Is it not good?
It's in fact bad.
Yeah.
It is in fact bad. What were the odds of that happening?
The Cubs you're talking about?
Yeah, there.
I don't see it. You're ahead of me.
It just came out. Fargas is batting 7th. Schwindel 6th. Bodie. Wisdom, Happ, Contreras, Ortega, Alcantara. Yeah, that's just a bad lineup.
Yeah. Schwindel's fun to say, though. You got to at least give it that.
So is Josh Fargas.
All right. So you're
Johnny
playing,
Sway.
you're playing a good bit of gray because I presume that means, salary cap reasons. You open up the salary cap for your bats. Does that mean you want to load up on expensive Yankees? Toronto's going to be kind of sort of somewhat ignored in this slate. They're pretty pricey for good reason. JC Mejia, not somebody we're scared of. By the way, we talked about players that have initials that so that the chat was all over it. Some players that have initials aren't very good. DFS, Dorian Finney-Smith, TLC. That's TLC is a Timothy Luwawu Cabarro, and I don't know who SGF is. LBJ. Come on, how dare you? Somebody boot out Derek LBJ. That's the greatest basketball player of all time. What are we talking about? So what stack is popping for you? What are you spending up on?
So I'm spending up on the Dodgers are probably my favorite stack. Like Dodgers are just an absolutely fantastic spot going up against Odorizzi. Odorizzi's not great. This lineup is very good. They're so expensive. I don't know how many people are going to pay for them. We currently have a pretty high ownership on it. I'm going to wait and see. But if we're not including ownership, it's the Dodgers, then it's the Rockies, the Yankees, and the Blue Jays. The one that I will probably have more exposure to because their ownership is just off. Like, let's see if you can figure it out. No one right now is projected for over 5% ownership.
Okay. I'm not looking at anything. I'm not cheating, but well, it's probably, let me see. Are they actually good? Is it back to Baltimore? You're not playing Baltimore.
No, this is a good hitting team.
Okay. It's a good hitting team
against a trash pitcher.
It can't be the Braves have got to be expecting ownership, so it can't be the Braves. I like the Braves a good bit, but that doesn't make sense for the answer.
They're not projected for over 5% ownership.
Yeah. It's not the Dodgers because
it's the Braves.
Wait, no, because Albies is going to be more than 5%. That's wrong.
We currently have projected to 3%.
That's incorrect.
I know that's incorrect. It's going to go up, but I'm saying what we're currently have projected. The ownership's going to be higher than that, but
and Solaire's going to be owned.
Soler will be owned. Soler will definitely be owned, but the Braves are still not going to come in at terribly high ownership. Like all these teams are going to go under owned because we have so much ownership on these high priced pitchers. Like, unless they're just going to be double stacking them with a real trash lineup, or they're going to be taking one-offs in tournaments, I don't think these lineups are going to be nearly as high owned as they should be.
I keep saying like Hilliard and Adele, though, are going to open up the world. So you can get your big stacks, you can get good pitchers and get everything. That's something you can do. So that's something I'm not saying, do. Yeah. And I'm not the only one discovering that. Everybody else is seeing that too. And I haven't hit the optimizer, but I assume it's going to be spitting out stuff like that as well. I did want to ask, the Yankees, they broke out last night, not necessarily all the bats you necessarily expect. They're facing Matt Harvey. Matt Harvey has not given up a homer in 7 of his last 8 starts. I think it's like last 18 innings, hasn't given him a run or something like that. He hasn't faced the Yankees in Yankee Stadium. I did kind of dig into that too. And his last start, his swinging strike rate was still like 3 or 4%, which is terrible. His last 30 days, his swinging strike rate and K rate are actually lower than they have been the entire season. So my argument, I would say he's getting kind of sort of somewhat lucky.
His fly ball rate over the last 30, his ISO to lefties is 0.061.
Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah, his ISO to righties, 0.040. Yet he has a 13% K rate to righties, 20% K rate to lefties. He's giving up 50% fly balls to lefties, 42+% hard contact to both sides of the plate. This does not make sense. He's gotten incredibly lucky. This will not continue. And he's not even getting any soft contact. Like, you don't get that type of BABIP over this type of span with that much hard contact, no soft contact, especially if you're not getting a ton of ground balls. He's sitting at 46% to each. That's a decent amount. That's a bit above average. But he's going up against a team that is just absolutely just crushes the ball. And Harvey has not been good versus lefties pretty much all season long. Again, these numbers over the last 30 days still are not good. He is going up against Rizzo and Gallo, who are both hard-hitting lefties, and he does not give up, or he does not get ground balls to lefties. He doesn't get anything to lefties. He's terrible versus lefties. And the righties, we got Stanton, we got Judge, we got LeMay, who hasn't been great this season. Torres hasn't been great this season, but they're still good hitters. Like, this is a fantastic lineup here that can take anyone out of the ballpark. And just because something hasn't happened recently, look at the underlying numbers, and it's very clear that Harvey over the last month hasn't actually been any better. than he's been the rest of the year.
And like his velocity stuff, I was kind of looking in, trying to figure out like what's going on. And I think it's just like you said, he's been basically lucky. And the hard hits is still like mid 40s or so, the lefties to righties the last 30 days. And yeah, it's not something I'm afraid of. And I don't know if people are going to be like, well, Harvey's been great, so I'll just screw the Yankees. And they did a
Some
big
people
game last
will.
night. But I'm just not buying it. And can he shut them down? Of course he can. Like that can continue. There's nothing to say that. I know it's kind of like saying both things.
Any major league pitcher can shut down any team any day. That's how it works. That's how baseball works.
Well, we see the third baseman come in sometimes when the score is 17-3 and he gives up no earned runs. Like that happened. Just throwing like 65 miles per hour and just you hit the ball hard right at somebody and there you go, you're out. That's just how the game works sometimes. And it's goofy and it's unfair, but that's just the way it goes. We saw how the new starting rotation for the Cubs with the acquisition of Lester started last night. Gave up 6 runs or something in the first inning. He was good after the first inning. I'll give him that. But now another big part of their future, J Happ. J Happ going up against Atlanta. Both these pitchers, give up a good bit of homers. I hate this ballpark so much, but like you said, the Atlanta side looks pretty strong. 1 through 6 looks really strong. If you want to punt, I'm okay with Vogt. If you have to, have to play catcher out there, but you said the Braves are one of your favorite sides. Tell me why. I guess that's because Happ gives up homers and fly balls, and there you go.
I mean, Happ, I think, is still leading the league. I'm trying to find it. I don't know why I can't find it. There we go. Now I'm good getting to it. So he gives up a lot of barrels, like a ton of them. He gives up a lot of home runs. He is not good. He's second in the league on
12% barrels.
Per batted ball event, but 9%. You have to that's not a bad way to look at things, but I think it's better per plate appearance because Happ doesn't strike guys out. And so he's second league right behind Tariq Skubal, and he's just horrible. He's not good. Happ is terrible, and he's been especially bad going up against righties so far this season. Freeman is fine. I have no problem playing him. But we have guys like Albies, Soler, Riley, Swanson, and Duvall. All of these guys hit bombs. All these guys are made to hit bombs, and they're going up against a low strikeout lefty that give up a ton of hard contact. This is absolutely perfect here spot for all of them. And Vegas only has them at a 4.5 implied team total, which I think is hilariously bad.
I thought that number is weird too. I don't like that number. 9 just seems wrong. As a big number for both teams.
9 seems wrong as a total.
Yeah,
and this shouldn't be a toss-up game.
Yeah, I mean, not that Smiley's great, but I hear you. I like the Atlanta side. It sounds like you like the Atlanta side as well.
Yeah. I mean, Atlanta's my favorite stack on the board when you consider ownership. They are just by far the best, and you have 7 guys if you want to throw a vote in there. You can pretty much play everyone except for Heredia unless you want to just save money. Everyone in the Atlanta lineup is incredibly viable.
Smiley, and just both pitchers that game. Smiley in the season, 1.76 homers per 9. Happ on the other side, 1.92 homers per 9. It feels like a game that should yield a fair bit of homers. Any other stack you kind of want to talk about before we, we'll turn it over to the chat. Maybe I'll go around the horn really quickly. I don't know if you want to do that or not.
San Francisco's not the worst idea in the world. Just going with the lefties. You got Yaz, you got Wade if he's in there.
Posey should be
Crawford.
back.
Huh?
Posey should be back. He's a righty, but it's still a good bat to have actually in the.
Yeah, you don't only need lefties, but Gallen has definitely struggled quite a bit more for going up against lefties than he has going up against righties on the season. He's striking out 34% of righties because that slider cutter mix is just fantastic going up against righties. Lefties, he has a little bit less pitch mix to throw in there. So he's a solid overall pitcher. He has all the potential in the world, but lefties, he's definitely struggled quite a bit, and he doesn't give up a ton of fly balls, but you got guys that can absolutely hit the ball up in the air, and guys like Wade and Yaz and Crawford and Dickerson. They're all extreme fly ball lefties going up against a guy that is bad versus lefty outside of his ground ball lean, and they're fly ball hitters.
You mentioned Dickerson. There's another Dickerson. Corey Dickerson is 2K on FanDuel. Yeah, C-Dick. Just speaking of different ways.
Dick run.
What is that from? I feel like that's from a thing, but I don't remember what. Is that like a meme?
No, it's from like a kid's book. Sea dog run dog run, or maybe it was DOS. Maybe it was.
Did you modify this? I'm not sure.
Yeah, C Dick run Dick run.
Carlos Hernandez against the White Sox. Is that another spot? Like, I feel like the White Sox are going to be kind of sort of neglected because they kind of have to, because, people are going to be loading up on the Yankees. And I think Atlanta's going to get more ownership than we're currently projecting. Of course, those projections get updated the closer we get to lock. They get more refined, they get more accurate. And if you guys want to get that, or you want to get all the content here at Rotogrinders, we kind of reference all the time, and Devin's showing off. You get yourself $10 off the first month. Link is in chat. You can get for just baseball or all the sports, with the exception of NASCAR. $10 off either way. Do you think the White Sox are interesting?
Yeah, they are. I just don't know if I might end up with a White Sox stack. I just don't know if they're going to make the cut. Like, again, I'm going for these high total games or high total teams that aren't going to get enough ownership, and the White Sox are one. I mean, we can pretty much, I would say with pretty good certainty, that between the Dodgers, the Rockies, the White Sox, the Blue Jays, and the Yankees, one of them is going to put up 10 runs.
I feel pretty good. I feel good about that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not getting ownership like one of them's going to put up 10 runs.
Yeah, and another team we're not thinking of is going to put up like 8 or 9, maybe even 10. Just like
I'm surprised if the Braves put up 10 runs.
This Washington Philly game, it's like I'm mostly neglecting that. Is that a mistake? I just don't know how to play.
Total, I don't think it is. I mean, because looking over on the Washington, who do you want to? It's cheap, but Bell and Soto are the only two. Okay. My internet going out again?
Yeah. I feel like I just heard Devin like complaining about your internet.
Yes, he definitely did.
Devin's like, what is going on with his internet?
I don't understand it. I've got a gig.
Throw some questions in their chat as far as what we haven't talked about, what you want us to talk about, overarching strategy questions. What stacks do we like, or this specific team? Why didn't you mention this team? Why didn't you mention that pitcher? Go ahead and ask us about it. Devin is compiling. He'll ask us about it in a second. Let's screw it. Let's turn it over to Devin now. First of all, Devin, are you okay? The whole egg thing threw you off pre-show. It was right before we went to the bell.
Yeah, that threw me off a little bit, I'll admit. But yeah, we're good. I saw the the population. They came to my aid. They said solid and edible. That had to be the choice. And I just barely look. I just closed
because you closed it.
I closed it. Just I looked. It seemed like a healthy amount of time.
They didn't have a lead the entire time, and as soon as they took the lead, you closed it.
Oh, man. Yes, we do have plenty of questions. Just under 10 minutes left until we close out.
Man, I want to go make like 7 over easy eggs.
Kevin Roth just hopped in chat bringing up a good point. Did he miss the Dean chug?
Oh, I'll do it at the end of the show.
Roth said, wait. Did you guys want to take our homework?
I got myself a Yingling Black and Tan. There you go.
I knew you were going to. That's a good choice. I wish Yingling was out here.
It's not available?
Yeah, it's an East Coast thing.
I know a guy. I got a Yingling guy if you need a hookup.
I think a lot of us might have a Yingling guy.
It's called
I feel like Yingling's the most popular beer on the eastern half of the U.S.
No, Bud and like Natty Ice and that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not the most.
It's not. I don't even know if it's technical. I think Yingling's the oldest brewery in the U.S.
Yes, that's correct. In Pennsylvania. There you go. Fun fact.
And
was that fun? It was a fact.
Maybe not fun, but all right. Well, Grant, while you're looking up Yinglings, let's play the stack game. We got a couple of those saved up, and then some pitchers too. We'll knock out the same way. So 1 through 5. 1, you don't like them. 5, you love them. Toronto, Dean.
I'm afraid I'm not gonna have enough. I like them, but I'm not sure how I'm gonna make them work because they're kind of expensive.
Wait, more than 10%?
I don't. Yeah, man. Springer's been scalding too. I would have some Cedic because he's cheap, and Grichuk is cheap as well on FanDuel. I'm giving the long answer. I don't really know why, but I'm going to say a 3.9.
5.
Grant, Dodgers.
Everything can't be a 5. Grant.
5.
You just set the board. Okay.
I have 3 5s on the day slate.
We're 2 out of 3 currently, Dean. Dodgers.
Grant.
He said 5. That's the 2 of 3 I just referenced.
4.3. I like the Dodgers a good bit.
What about the Astros?
Are you going to reference a third one?
I am going to shortly. Dean, Astros.
They are cheap. So I'll give you that. Like, especially, depending on, I think Tucker's cheap and Brantley's cheap, the lefty power, and Scherzer's probably going to give up a homer here. They're an interesting, and nobody's playing the Astros. Like, that's not happening. For that reason.
You can play Brantley. It's a 2.
But Brantley, is a terrible one-off in theory, isn't he? That's not his game.
No, you say that all the time, and look at his numbers.
He does well when players around him do well. Like, he's one of those guys.
Hey, if I told you that someone was going to get 14 points potentially, and they were 2.7K, what would you say, Dean?
He's
You
3
say 14 points potentially.
but
Like
he's
that- okay.
3% on DK currently. That's
But
not.
he doesn't have this monster ceiling. That's the point I'm making is he's not a guy that's going to go
He
out
can
there
get a
and
home
hit
run. He can absolutely get a home run.
Of course
He's
he
not
can.
likely to get a home run, but he can get 15 points easily without a home run.
It feels like you're thinking he's a chalky one-off, though, Dean. He's not very
But no,
chalky.
yeah.
though, right?
No. My argument is I want one-offs that are like Serrano. He can do it by himself. He can bang out the homer by himself. He doesn't.
I want
like,
one-offs that are cheap that
was
let
gonna
me
say
get Toronto back.
2-7 though. 2-7. Open some doors, Dean. That's a nice 2-7 shaped key,
Yeah, you want to play Joe Adele for 700 less.
like a fish.
You fish.
Dean, Braves 1 through 5.
Yeah, they're a 4-4.
5.
Chicago Cubs.
Grant just 5 for everybody. He's
Well,
like
that's the third 5, Dean. We got no more 5s.
Yeah, there was
we're gonna
3
hold,
of them.
We're gonna hold him to that, Dean.
yeah, well 4-9 for the next team.
The Cubs, 1.
Suck
What
it.
else you have, Devin?
Cleveland.
1.
Yeah, I haven't really considered Cleveland's. Jose Ramirez is an actual guy you can play as a one-off because he doesn't need anybody else. He doesn't need his teammates.
Yeah, you could also pay
Professional hitter.
5.6K and not get good pitching, or you could stack up a good stack like Toronto or the Dodgers.
No, but you can make this stuff work, man. It's the salary.
You
cap's
can make
not-
stuff work, but it's about making stuff work that other people aren't doing.
Dean, you don't
Sure.
have to go double barrel in all of your lineups, okay?
I understand that. I'm not necessarily doing that.
STL Cardinals. What are you playing them?
Oh, they're the worst, aren't they? I'm a 3 because I don't know. I throw my hands up.
2. A 2, just because O'Neill, Goldschmidt, Arenado are going to be low owned and they could do something.
All right, Detroit Grant.
3.
No. A 2.
Where on the 1 through 5 is that? So we'll round off the stacks section here with Richie's. Who's your favorite leverage stack against a high-owned SP? Which
All right,
chalk
so it
are you
has to be
fading?
one of the main. I mean,
Houston. I don't by default. It's not Kansas City, right?
yeah, I mean, it's not Kansas City. It's not going to be Texas. It's not going to be Diamondbacks. It's not going to be the Dodgers. I mean,
It's not Detroit.
honestly,
me.
I feel like you can go Detroit. Detroit might actually be my favorite of the leverage stacks.
What about playing Matt Harvey as leverage? Like, I'm not doing that, but I've seen that thrown out there in the ether. I've seen
Well,
somebody throw it out there.
while you're talking about it, Dean, that leads us to our next section, which is we're going to play the same game but with SPs that we maybe did or did not talk about.
Oh, I like it.
Harvey, Dean, 1 through 5. This is for tournaments. Let me clarify here.
Yeah.
0.
No, 1 through Grant. Do we need to show you what numbers look like?
Dean, you said no, so he,
1
He's
point.
behind.
at least his was an integer. Like,
What? Look at integer. Look at you showing off. 1.5 for the reason that like there's in theory some leverage against the very popular Yankees, but like I'm not doing it. I get why you would though.
Erod.
4.
I would say he's a 4.5 on FanDuel and a 4 on DK.
Gallon.
3.
Yeah, 3. He's fine.
And Zach Thompson.
Oh, man,
3.
I just wish they'll let him pitch. They're not going to let him play enough, I don't think. I agree. He's about a 3. He's fine. He's going to be okay while he's out there, but like he's getting pitch hit in the bottom of the 5th.
I seem to remember a certain, was it a Chris Rodriguez you said wasn't going to pitch long enough earlier in the week?
Yes, that did. I was wrong about something.
What? All right,
I'm wrong about plenty.
We'll
I'm
round
sure.
off our SP conversation here with B. Joel's question while Grant deals with whoever he's talking to.
Who's Grant talking to?
The dogs are running downstairs.
Oh,
As
And now they're
dogs
running upstairs.
love to do.
oh,
So it wasn't a person.
you
It was
run a tight
dogs.
ship there, Grant.
Let's see. DK SP cash SPs for DK. Who are we playing?
I think it's Scherzer and Giolito, and I don't think that's even a conversation.
It's Scherzer, and that's not a conversation. Giolito, depending on what you can get. Like, I'm not making cash lineups on DK, but it's Scherzer is the one lock. Then, depending on what bats it conflicts with, if you can get it, Giolito.
All right. Otaku wants to know, Dean, what are your thoughts on the Marlins moving Alfaro from catcher to left field the other day?
Yeah, we talked about it yesterday. I couldn't figure out, like, why is this happening?
Hey, Dean, I got a question for you. You ready to
yeah.
chug that beer?
I was good.
Yeah, I'll do it when we
excellent.
leave.
Well,
yeah, at the end
all
of the
right.
show. I
So-
won't be.
We'll end with here with the mush plays are Brinson and some Harvey. And then Mike wants to know home run picks, so we'll get those. And Dean, prep your
All
chugging.
right, let me fire up some homers. Grant's gonna give you 3 guys from one team. That's what he does.
I'm going to give you 2 guys from one team. It's Solaire and it's Duval. And then for my pay up, it's going to be Trevor Story.
And while we're guaranteeing things, they're both going to hate each other's picks.
I don't actually like his. I actually like his picks. Albies, you left me. Albies is the best bat on Atlanta. Like that's the best bat.
I didn't want to go 3 because Dean, he gave me 3 from one
You should have
lineup.
led.
The last time I did that was Baltimore, and I think all 3 of them hit.
Scoreboard. So Albies is going to hit one out. Oh, Will Smith. He's going to hit one out. He's been much better versus righties. If you believe, like, he doesn't have to be a lefty mash or whatever. And Odorizzi is pretty much a neutral guy as well. So Will Smith is going to go yard. Albies is going to go yard. And who else did I have that I like today? Man, I'm just stalling because I don't want to drink this beverage.
You chose
Grant,
it.
You're going to play along, Jeff, and have one with you or no?
Nope.
Come on.
Oh,
Come
Grant,
on.
You're no fun.
What is it out?
Yeah.
What is it? 2 arms length out of your way instead of 1?
Devin, do you have one?
I mean, there's a half full White Claw.
I mean, I've just got I've got a big
full
bottle of
Kirkland
water.
Center.
I've just got a big bottle of water, so
I got a
no
water,
fun
too.
here. I
let's
didn't lose
see.
a bet though, so
Oh, Joe Adell. There you go. That's who's going to homer. I'll take a cheapie because Grant gets sold. Oh,
There
you
you
went
go.
over the salary cap on your
You
three
must have.
homers.
He's going to get a 0.
yeah. Grant, tomorrow you can give him crap for picking a guy that gets 0.
Is Grant back tomorrow again?
Is he? That would be pretty
don't think
glorious.
so.
I don't think he
No.
is though. Nope. We got Chop and Kirk. Dean, you're not even on tomorrow.
I'm not even
I'm
on
the only
tomorrow.
one that's on tomorrow.
Hey, okay, so I guess Grant, you're going to tell the people like that hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and all that because after this,
Yeah,
I'll just
guys,
drink
look.
this and you'll take us out of here. Is
See
that
if you
cool?
can hit the like button before Dean finishes. So you probably got a full
Just go
minute.
nice and
What's
slow.
the over under on time, Grant? You have an over under?
Actually, I'm gonna put it. You want me to get
I'm
stopwatch?
sure Grant could vamp
Yeah,
his way
Open
all the way.
stopwatch.
What? Oh, he's got technology. Look at him showing off with his Apple
All
Watch.
right, my guess is 6.5 seconds.
Dude, 6.5 seconds? Really?
Yeah.
Take the
Smash
over.
the under.
Over.
Smash the
over.
under. Let's
Yeah.
break the bank.
The main thing is, are you pouring it in a glass?
Should I have? No, I'm not prepared for that. I'm just going to take it out of the bottle.
6.5 seconds. Ready? Get set. Go.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Smash that like button. Dean's chugging an actual Yingling live. My God. Don't forget to jump into the FanDuel single entry
12
series.
seconds. 12 seconds.
Smash the over.
Yeah, that's
Woo.
why you didn't have it in a glass, you dummy.
Well, it's just I'm an
Glorious.
amateur,
Just
clearly.
glorious.
Are we
Are
done?
we out of here?
No, we're not. I was going to
Oh.
plug the FanDuel single entry series, and then Dean
FanDuel
was
single entry series. Great way to get prizes and things and stuff. FanDuel
two
single entry
different
series.
buy-in tiers. Check it out on
Two different
FanDuel.
buy-in tiers.
Crunch time. Holler.